Please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another updates from my YouTube channel. Hello guys, so today I'm going to talk about how to integrate Spring Boot with Keycloak. Okay, so first of all, I would like to discuss about what is Keycloak. So Keycloak is going to provide authenticating and authorization. So it's an open source identity and access management for modern applications and the services. Okay, it's purely open source, and that is the reason most of the guys will use this one. And so coming to so Keycloak is add the authentication to the applications and secure the services with minimum first. So let's say that you have an application. So in that application you want to provide some security kind of stuff. So basically you have to authenticate the users, and after that you have to store that users information inside the database, and as well as you are going to deal with the roles and the permissions and all those stuff, right? So that kind of stuff is going to taken care by this Keycloak. So in our application you can just take care of your business logic and whatever that security stuff is there, so that security stuff is going to take care by this Keycloak. Okay, and so no need to deal with the storing the users or authenticating the users. It's all available out of the box. And by using the Keycloak, so you can manage the users, roles, groups and the permissions, and it's going to support LDAP and Kerberos as well. So Keycloak provides pluggable architecture such as a user federation, identity brokering and social login. Okay, Keycloak supports the following standard protocols. The first one is OpenID Connect, SAML and OAuth and Kerberos. So these are the protocols will provide by the Keycloak. And after that it's user federation. So it's going to support OpenLDAP, Active Directory and custom user store. So if you want to do some social login kind of stuff, okay, so if you want to sign in with the Google or Facebook or GitHub or Twitter, so it's going to provide social login as well, guys. And so coming to this diagram, so these are the core concept of the Keycloak. Okay, so if you want to work with the Keycloak, so you should aware of these core concepts. So basically if you observe here, so we have a Keycloak here, and top of that we have identity provider. So this identity provider is going to provide OpenID Connect, SAML, OAuth and social login kind of stuff, right? So and after that, so we have a user federation and roles, groups and the users, and here we have a realm master. Okay, so this is the default master. So if you are creating one of application, so we have to create one realm, and after that, so this realm is going to taken care by the clients and the roles stuff. Okay, and so basically what is realm? And so a Keycloak realm is like a namespace, so that allows you to manage all of your user metadata and the configurations. So it manages a set of users and credentials, roles and the groups. And so coming to the client, so you have to create the client for your application. So you can have one client that contains a configuration information for a single application, such as the URL, protocol and redirect URI. So this kind of stuff we are going to provide inside that client. Okay, so basically these clients can request a Keycloak to authenticate the user, and after that sorry guys, so after that you have to create the roles. So there could be multiple roles, right? So either it could be a user role or admin role. So this kind of roles we are going to create here, and after that we have to create the users. So your application will have a number of users. That users should be mapped with your roles. So these are the four things very important here: realm, client, so roles and the users. Okay, so that's it guys. So now I'm going to show you how practically we are going to create all those stuff inside this Keycloak, and after that I'm going to integrate with the Spring Boot. Okay guys, so let's download this Keycloak. Okay, so here you will find zipper tar file. Okay, so you can download zipper tar file. So I already downloaded this file, so let's unzip this. Okay, open this Keycloak. So here you will find bin directory. So let's open terminal. Okay, so So this is the command to start this Keycloak. So standalone.sh and jbus socket binding port offset equal to 100. Okay, so let's start this. So it's going to take like couple of seconds, guys. So let's wait for that. Okay, it started, guys. So let's open. So our port number is 8180. Okay, and let's hit the endpoint. So here you will find like administration console. So here we have to create the user. So let's create the user, guys. So let's take admin. Okay, let's log in this, guys. Okay, so if you observe here, so by default some master realm is there. Okay, but to work with like our Spring Boot application, we have to create one realm. So let's create. So here let's add, okay, demo, click on create. Okay, so here you will see like so name, display name, and the endpoints. Okay, so here we need to create one client. So for each application we need one client, guys. So let's click on create and create Spring Boot Keycloak. Okay, so our client protocol is OpenID Connect. So if you want to use SAML, you can use here. Okay, so in the root URL, so the Spring Boot application root URL is http localhost 8081. Okay, so if you are using 8080, you can define your root URL here. Okay, so let's save this. After you save this, so you can see like all the configuration related to this client. So the client ID and the client protocol. So what is the access type and root URL. Okay, so admin URL, web origins, so all the stuff you can see here. And after that, so we need to create the roles, guys. Okay, so let's create the roles. So basically I'm going to create two roles. One is user role, another one is admin role. Okay, so this is application user permissions. Okay, and after that let's create another role, that is admin role. This is application admin permissions. Okay, so let's save this. And now, so we have created two roles, user and admin role. So now we have to create the users, and after that we have to map the roles to these users. And I'm going to create user one role. Okay, and email, first name, last name. So if you require these details, you can fill it out. So but these are the optional parameters. Okay, let's save this. And after that you can see, so credentials here. So I'm going to provide the credentials for this user one. Okay, and let's, so this is, we have a temporary flag here. Okay, and let's click on that, and after that you can set the password. And here we will see the role mappings. So I'm going to map the roles to this user one. So I'm going to take user role for this user one. Okay, and let's click on add selected. So it's successfully add the role. And after that click on add user. I'm going to create another one, that is user 2. Okay, let's save this. And coming to this credentials, so let's create the credentials for this user 2. Okay, and let's set this password and come to this role mappings. I'm going to add the admin to this user 2. Okay, click on add selected. So it's successfully added, guys. And come to this realm settings. So here you will find the OpenID endpoint configuration. Let's click on this. So here you will find like all the endpoint configurations. Okay, so here you will see like issuer, authorization endpoint, token endpoint. Okay, so user info endpoint, but we need token endpoint here. So let's copy this and let's open this and come to authorization. Okay, so here we will find like OAuth 2.0. okay, so here we have to, yeah, let's paste here. And so here the client ID, basically what is the client ID that we have given, so that client ID should be matched here. So Spring Boot Keycloak, and here the user information we have to provide here, guys. User 1, I'm going to take user 1, and so the client secret is optional, and after that scope is OpenID, and let's click on this get new access token. Okay, to click proceed, so you will find like access token here. So if you want to use this access token, you can use it. If you click on that, it's going to be copy here. Okay, so I'm able to successfully generated this access token, guys. So now let's create the Spring Boot project. Okay, so let's open Spring Boot initializer. Boot initializer. Okay, and so now I'm going to generate one project, guys. So I'm going to take Keycloak and the Spring Boot Keycloak. Okay, so let's add the dependencies here. So we need web dependency and we need Lombok dependency for setters and getters, and we need security dependency, Spring security dependency, and after that we need JPA dependency to work with Spring Data JPA, and after that we need MySQL driver to connect to MySQL database. Okay, so you can generate this project, guys. Okay, and let's extract this project, and I'm going to import into my IDE. Okay, so this is my IntelliJ IDE. It's successfully imported into my IDE, guys. Okay, so now let's open our package here. Okay, I'm going to create one model class here. So let's create one model class. Okay, so our model class is ready, guys. I just took like ID, name, and department inside the model class, and let's add repository. So this is repository, this is the interface, guys, and inside the repository package I'm going to create employee repository. Okay, so let's repository is ready now. So let's create the controller, guys. So let's create the controller package. Inside that I'm going to take name as employee controller class. Okay, so let's annotate with REST controller, and here so we are going to auto add so our repository, that is our employee repository. Okay, and so I'm going to save the employees here. So this is post mapping. Okay, I'm going to take endpoint as employees, guys. So that's it. So this is ready, and another one is I'm going to fetch all the employees. Okay, and so let's take get mapping here, and inside that add employees. Okay, so our controller is ready now. So, and after that we have to add the adapters. So Keycloak adapters information, that is like our Spring Boot configuration. Okay, so let's search this. So basically, so if you search Keycloak adapters, okay, you'll find the Keycloak Java document here, and in that you will find like OpenID Connect. Let's click on that. So here you will see the Java adapters. Click on that, and inside that you will see the Spring Boot adapter. Okay, so here you will find the dependency related to this Keycloak. So let's copy this, guys, and let's open your pom.xml file and add this dependency. Okay, and after that we have a dependency management. Okay, so this is also required. So let's copy this and come here and let's paste here. Okay, and let's save this pom. So it's going to take like a couple of seconds to download this all the dependencies. Okay, and after that, so here we need to add one configuration file. So if you come down, okay, you'll find like Keycloak configurations. Okay, and I will add later, but now we need like Keycloak configuration file. Okay, so let's come down. So here you will find this one. So this is security config file, so which is extends Keycloak web security configure adapter. Okay, so let's copy this file and let's create one package. So our package name is, I'm going to take as configuration package. So inside that I'm going to paste that file. Okay, so here if you observe here, so let's maximize this, guys. So here it is annotated with Keycloak configuration, and security config is extends Keycloak web security configuration adapter. Okay, so if you open this class, so you will find like so this is extends the web security configure adapter. So basically, if you work with like Spring Boot with security, so you will extend the web security configure adapter, right? So that's what this class is, extend this web security configure adapter here. And inside that, so we have Keycloak config resolver. Okay, and we have like some methods related to this Keycloak configuration, guys. Okay, and we need like so come to your security config that class. Okay, so here we need to add like few more configuration. So this is, okay, set granted authority mapper. So inside that we need to add new simpler uh, yeah, simple authority mapper. So let's open this. So this is implements the granted authorities mapper, so which will have like after property set method, and basically this is have like map authorities, guys. Okay, and let's close this, and so you can just define this one. Okay, so that's it. I have modified this class, guys, and now uh, yeah, so basically we need Keycloak Spring Boot config resolver class. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to import that, and Keycloak Spring Boot config resolver class. Okay, so we can define the bean, but so if you define the bean, so it's going to be throw the error. So that is the reason I just imported this configuration, because this configuration is already available. Okay, and let's close this, guys, and so come to this we have like so configure global method, and after that session authentication strategy. So this is related to like session authentication. and after that we have a configure method. So here we will define our endpoints. Okay, so basically our endpoint is employees. Okay, so it has a role. So our role is user. Okay, I'm going to test the user role here, and so that's it guys. So let's start this application. And 1 second guys. So I'm going to use the Tomcat here, but so in the Tomcat, so you will see like some version conflicts. So that is the reason I'm going to use Jetty here. Spring Boot Jetty. So if you search this, you will find the Spring Boot Jetty PALM dependencies related code. So you can just copy that code. So this is web Spring Boot web dependency. Here we are excluding Tomcat and we are adding Jetty. So that's pretty simple. So let's open our web. So this is our Spring Boot starter web. I'm just replacing here. Okay, we're just excluding so this Tomcat and we are adding Jetty here. That's it. And let's save this. And after that, so let's start this application. Okay, I forgot to add so data source properties guys, and Keycloak configurations properties as well. So come to this resources, and here we'll add new file. So I'm going to take application.yaml file. Okay, let's copy this. So this is Keycloak configuration. Okay, so our real name is demo guys, and this is Spring Boot Keycloak. So this is real name, and after that resource in a sense like our client name, and after that public client true and bearer only. So these two flags we must be enabled here. And so our application, so that is Keycloak, a server is running on localhost 8180. So this is the Keycloak URL. And after that we have a data source properties here. So URL data source, MySQL data source URL and username and the password, and some DDL properties to generate DDLs and to show SQL. Okay, and that's it. So our Spring Boot application is going to be run on 8081. So that's it guys. So you can just start this application. Okay, our Spring Boot application has been started successfully. So let's open our Postman here, and let's add one more endpoint. So here I'm going to take HTTP localhost so 8081 and endpoint is employees. Okay, and come to this authorization, take OAuth 2.0. so here, so we have endpoint, right? So this is our endpoint, and client ID is Spring Boot Keycloak and username. So I'm going to test the user one, and after that we are going to test it out user 2 as well. And here we have scope, and let's generate the token. Okay, so generated successfully this access token guys. So let's use this token and let's send this. Okay, because we don't have any data, so that is the reason. So we are getting empty response here. And this is one way guys, and another way what I'm going to do is, so instead of using ant matchers here, okay, so what we can do is we can add, so let's say, so here we have one more annotation, that is enable global method security. Inside that you can use JSR 250 enabled. So if you use this, okay, to role based authentication basically. So come to this employee controller. Here you will use roles allowed. Okay, so we have a annotation roles allowed. So here we will define, I'm going to define, sorry, admin role for this, and I'm going to define user for this. Okay, roles allowed. So this is roles based authentication, guys. Okay, so I just define the user and admin. So for post, I just define user. For getting like all the employees, I just define admin role. Okay, let's restart this application. Okay guys, it started now. So come to authorization and generate the token again by using user one. So proceed, use token and send. Okay, because we don't have access this one, and let's check get method. Mhm. Why I'm getting, so let's test this out. User2 and let's generate the token. Proceed, use this token and send it. Okay, for user2 I'm getting the empty response, and for post method, so in the body raw JSON. Okay, so let's send this. For post method we are not able to send the data, so we are getting like forbidden error. So let's add HTTP, and here we need to add CS of disable. Okay, and let's restart this application, guys, and let's. Okay, it started successfully. So now let's check this. Okay, it's not working. Let's take get method. It's getting empty response. Okay, come to authorization and use user1, and let's generate the access token again. Proceed, use token, and let's use post method, and let's generate this. Okay, so this time we are able to successfully save the data, and come here and add one more data. Okay, let's send this. Okay, second data is also added successfully. Now if you get it, because we are getting forbidden error because user one don't have access for this end mapping. Okay, so what we need to do is again, so come to authorization. Here you can change user2 and user2, and let's access the gender token. Let's generate the token and use this token, and let's send this. See, now this time we are getting two employees by using get mapping. Okay, that's how it will work, guys. So if you want to define like more roles, you can just define by using roles allowed here. So if you have like another endpoint, and you can just define two roles as well. So let's say if you want to define like two roles here, so you can define another role as well, like this. Okay, so this is how it will work, guys. So if you like this video, so please like, and if you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thanks, bye, have a good day.